Hello everybody, my name is Doomfish, and today I'm going to give you a tutorial for a very fast, very efficient iron farm that occupies 4 slime chunks. So here we have it. This is an aerial view. I've just gone ahead and hollowed out the sides here, just so you can see. Obviously this would all be covered up, um, but it works pretty easily. We've got all 4 slime chunks over here. If we hit F3 and G, we can see these are slime chunks. They all intersect right in the middle here, and there's iron golems in here that lure the slimes in, and they fall down, or the most of them get lured into this pit, fall down, and land here. Like, see this guy, eventually, will get attracted to this iron golem, try and kill him, but he can't, and he'll fall down into this pit, and there's a minecart with hopper underneath here that collects all the drops. So here's where all the drops are collected, and we can see a ton of slime balls. I haven't had this thing running for like 20 minutes, maybe, and I've been out and about, not really optimizing the spawn. I've been AFKing the whole time. I've been, working on the farm and whatnot. So this is a very, very good source of slime balls, and I'll show you what you need to make the farm. So here you go. Here's everything you're going to need. You're going to need supplies for a full beacon. You're going to need a pickaxe, diamond or better, and I would recommend efficiency 5, unbreaking 3, and mending, although mending is optional. Around 2 stacks of glass panes, a stack of slabs, 8 carved pumpkins, 32 blocks of iron, 64 glass, a stack of ladders, a half stack of scaffolding. You'll need 8 blocks of redstone, 64 magma blocks, a minecart with hopper, 10 chests, 18 powered rails, 11 hoppers, 1 redstone dust, a torch and a comparator, a stack of rails, and 12 stacks or more of torches. This depends. This is probably the minimum amount. You could use a lot more, depending on how efficient you want your farm to be. So let's get into the tutorial for this thing. Alright, so the first step is to find 4 adjacent slime chunks in a square shape right here. So I've gone ahead and outlined this, and if we hit F3 and G, show the chunk borders, we can see this indeed 4 chunks. And these are all slime chunks. And the way I did that is using a site called Mine Atlas. It's a little outdated, but it should show the slime chunks just fine. And I'll put a link to that in the description. You can put new Java Edition seed. And there's also other ways to find slime chunks, but that's just the way I use. I know in Bedrock Edition it's a little bit different, but I'm sure there's some tools you can use for that. Next up, we need to dig a 2-wide tunnel all the way down to y equals 5, and the location for that, if we hit F3 and G, is going to be just outside of this 2-chunk border, or this 4-chunk border. So we'll leave 1 empty space here, and we'll just start our tunnel right here, all the way down to y equals 5. Or if you are not using your F3, it is right when the bedrock starts to generate. So you should know when you hit it because there'll be a bedrock floor right beneath you, and there's going to be no bedrock to the sides or above you. There we go. We are now y equals 5, and now is a little bit of a tricky part. So this direction where I'm facing is where our slime chunks are, and what you need to do, I would press F3 and G for this, is head pretty much to the middle of our 4-chunk border here. So here is our first slime chunk, and we're just going to keep on tunneling out 3 high, 2 wide, all the way until we get pretty much to the middle. And you can, it's a little bit tricky to use this chunk border thing. And by the way, you can put some torches on the walls if you want. We're going to be putting slabs down here eventually, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But you'll notice we're going to get pretty close here. It's going to be 16 blocks. And there we go. We've just broken into it, so we can break these blocks as well. And this is just where our middle is going to be. So what we can do is make a 8x8 square centering here. So if we go out in each direction, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can kind of count 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and just keep on making a square, like so. Alright, there we go. We can see we have our square hollowed out here with the center right in our chunk border, so all of these are slime chunks all around us. And if we want to, now would be a great time to set up your beacon. Since we have this big hole here, and by the way, we're going to put ladders here all the way up as well. But while we're at it, we can also use this hole as a beacon base. We can just get rid of these ladders for now, put them in when we're all done, and just hollow out a beacon area right here. So you only need a 9x9 square right here, and you can build the beacon straight up. There we go, pyramid's done. Place our beacon in. I did it correctly, there we go. Don't know why I'd mess it up, but you never know. And we're going to choose our haste and haste 2 for this. And now we will have a insta-mine effect whenever we go through here. Assuming we're in survival mode, of course I'm in creative mode, but that will help you out a lot when we're digging through this. So back over to our 8x8 square, on this side where our tunnel is, we're going to dig out one of these blocks underneath here, and one of these blocks underneath on the other side as well. And again, I would not recommend placing torches here specifically, but you can place them throughout this tunnel. And what we're going to want to do is make a snaking pattern of rails. So we can start in the back here, and we're just going to do something like this. Now, it's pretty important that we do this correctly, and what we want to do is on these middle two blocks, so you can see with the chunk borders, on one of them, whatever block doesn't have bedrock, usually, unless it's something like this, then you're going to have to move it probably to this side. You're just going to put down a redstone block, and we're going to make sure we have 2 powered rails on each of these straight lines. Look something like this. I mean, you're going to have to be careful because if you place them, sometimes they'll go sideways, and that's pretty annoying. But just like this, make sure they're all straight. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the chunk borders because it's a little bit annoying. But what we're just going to do is fill out this pattern underneath all of these blocks right here. It should take a little bit, but we're just going to make a big looping minecart rail just like this. There we go. Should look something like this. And there's going to be 2 sides on this end, hopefully, that are unpowered, and you have these powered rails on the edge. On one of them, I'm just going to go ahead, this left one, I'm just going to place a block of redstone underneath it and replace the powered rail. And on this side is where our collection system is going to be, so we got to build that. And building this collection system is pretty simple. What we're just going to do is draw this line out like 2 more blocks, so we get like 1, 2, something like this, maybe 1 more. And we're going to go up like this, break this block, and we're going to put a hopper down. Now I place our hopper down on this block right here, and we should get something that looks like this. So we have a 2-block elevation here. And in our tunnel here, we can sort of clear out an area just so we can see what's going on back here. Makes it a little bit easier for us. And because this is where our chests are going to go. So we have this out here. And what we're going to try and do is continue this line of hoppers out here, all the way to where our beacon's set up. And then we're just going to dig underneath these 4 right here, or these 5, if you will. And we're going to try and place down 4 rows of chests. Something like this, this. And we need to try and place our hoppers behind them, which can be a little bit tricky. You can just dig out a gray block here, and it should look something like this. Place these blocks, and there we go. We're pretty much done here. We just need to finish this up. What we need to do is break this rail right here, replace it with powered rail, of course, place a block right here, and we need to get to this other side. So again, just dig out a little tunnel right here, and this is where our redstone components are going to go. Now what we need is a comparator facing out of this hopper right here, facing into a torch, the block on top of it, then a block here and redstone dust right here. And to see if it works, we can just throw our minecart with hopper down right here, and it should go all the way down, stop right there, and come all the way back. There we go. Just tested it, everything works fine. I'm going to go ahead and break this minecart with hopper for now because it's a little bit noisy. And the next step, we need to get our magma blocks out here, and we just need to, on this original 8x8 square, so from here out to here, we just need to place down 64 magma blocks. So you can make this torch and just continue this out. There we go. I kind of trapped myself in a corner here, but that's all right because what we're going to do is head up 1 block and break all this. Again, we should have our haste beacon, so it should be no problem for you. And we're just going to expand this area out 1 block tall so we have a 2-block gap above our magma blocks. In addition, we'll see that where our minecart is, maybe not, there is a hole right here. Just going to cover that up. Shouldn't influence anything with our collection system. And there we go. Now we need to install our first farm layer here. So we can just hit this up all the way 4 blocks up and make a 4-block higher hole here. There we go. Should look something like this. And you can see I've got my torches down 2 blocks up. And what we can do is make our first spawning layer here. So we want to dig out 3 whole blocks up right here. And we want to be on about y = 9, should be if you did everything correctly. And what we're going to go ahead and do is just dig out a huge hole all the way 3 blocks high for all of these chunks here. So the first thing I would do, press F3 and G, we can get rid of this screen. And we're just going to go all the way out and build a sort of perimeter around our chunks. So right now I'm trying to get to the edge of our first chunk here. And there we go, should look something like that. And then I'm just going to dig out to the sides. And you can put torches on the floor as you go. Dig out until we see another chunk border. Make a right turn every time you see one. And there we go. And there we go. Reach back up with our initial tunnel here. And we've got our space sort of cleared out. Now, before we go any further, you should check whether or not you are exactly 100% sure that you're in the right spot for the slime chunks, because this is going to be the most strenuous part, which is clearing out this whole area. So once you figured it out, all you gotta do, just mine out every single block here, and place torches along it as you go. There we go, we've got our first layer, and we can see using F3 and G that everything is perfectly aligned here. And we need to make sure everything is lit up so that no mobs can spawn. You can just go around in the dark spots and look if the light level is at or below 7. So now what we need to do is we need to basically repeat this whole process of digging this out and putting torches down on the floor, up on the layers, so we can go 1, 2, 3, 3, and just sort of do the same thing here, where we leave a 3 high gap, so you can count 1, 2, 3, and we have a stone ceiling, and then we have the same thing up above. And we need to do this 8 more times, or 7 more times, optimally. If you don't want to do it 7 more times, I perfectly understand that. If you're okay with having lower rates, you can do this just 3 or 4 more times. But we do need to make another layer at least. There we go. 8 whole layers carved out and torched out. And we can see that our top layer is at y equals 37. If yours is a little different, that's okay, as long as it is below y equals 40, because that is where the slimes will spawn. Now our final task here is just to pretty much install our iron golems here. I did not mean to put the carved pumpkin on my head, but what we're going to need is our glass panes, and what we're just going to do is head out to the center here, so we can make a 2x2 square in the center of each of these planes. So we're going to do this one and this one as well, all the way up. And what we're going to do is we are going to head one up as well and place down our panes in a little square shape here, which can be a little tricky. It's a little bit hard to place these sometimes. We're going to sort of encapsulate this area, and then we can build our golem here, which you're going to have to break some of these blocks to do. And there we go. And then just nudge him into his little spot here and board him back up. And we're going to do that all the way up on every single layer. And there we go. Final guy is in place. And we should have something like this. Now this is a good time to double check, make sure everything is lit up and proper, because we're pretty much done with the farm. All we need to do is get our AFK spot set up and finish our collection system down here. So we can see that this is where it starts. What you can do, just head down to the bottom here and board everything up just like so. There we go, it's perfectly enclosed. And what we need to do now is just mob-proof this whole area. So we need to go through with some slabs of any kind and just make sure that nothing can spawn at all down here. So in this area right here, these hoppers should be fine. Like right here, all these redstone components you don't have to worry about. And yeah, you can also just go ahead and board this up, and we can remove our beacon. And before we board everything up, we're going to want to replace our minecart with hopper just right there. There we go, all this has been spawn proofed, and what we need to do is grab our ladders, and just we can head up just as you normally would. Ladders, and then place some torches on the other side right here, all the way up to the surface. Now that we're up to the surface, as you can see, what we need to do is head into our AFK spot. So it's actually a pretty specific location, and that is to head up to the very middle here, so you can go Y or F3 and G, and we can see this is our middle here. And we're going to place our scaffolding down pretty close to the middle, a little bit further away. So I'm going to place it down right on this block right here. So we have a little bit of space here. And we're going to place our scaffolding all the way up to y equals 110. So as you can see, we are at y equals 68. So we'll need to place down 42 pieces of scaffolding. It depends on how high up your land is around here. There we go. We are at y equals 110. Well, the targeted block is 110. We're at y equals 111. We're just going to walk to the side really carefully here and place down a glass here, one here, and we're going to place down a 2x2 square so that we're in the middle, as you can see, of all of these chunks right here. And this is where our AFK spot is going to be. So we can just go ahead and build up a little enclosure around here. And there we go. Our farm is pretty much complete here. One thing there is to note is that you might have troubles with the efficiency of your farm, and that is because there are some hostile mob spots being taken up by the caves below and by the surface at nighttime. So if you are on a server where a lot of people will sleep the night away, and you have the plugin installed where one person sleeping sort of makes everyone else's game set to daytime, this isn't a big issue. But if you're playing on a solo world or on a pretty empty server, what I would heavily consider doing is just running around and placing down a bunch of torches on the surface. And there we go. In addition, something that might be worth doing is clearing up some of the caves around. So if while you were digging, you explored some caves near our spawning area, what I would do is just head down underground into those caves and light them up. So there you have it, a relatively simple, very large scale, easy to make, except for all the mining, that's definitely the most tedious part, slime farm for Minecraft 1.16 and above. So if you had found this video informative, or if you enjoyed the video, don't be afraid to leave a like, and you can subscribe for more content just like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.